Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantump. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope your week is off to a good start so far. I'm really excited about today's video. We are going to be talking about arguably one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, and that is Charizard. Obviously, whenever Charizard comes out in a set, plays a huge impact on the market, huge impact on the set. We're going to notice that in a few weeks once Brilliant Stars starts hitting the market. A lot of implications that Charizard brings to the table, and I want to look at price trends, I want to look at history, I want to look at a few different things. Before I jump into that, I do want to remind everybody that we are doing our new giveaway this week. We're going to be giving away a Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box. All you have to do to get entered to win this bad boy, go back to the video that I posted 2 days ago going over the hidden, or a couple days ago, depending on when you're watching this, right? Go back to the video I posted a few days ago going over the Hidden Fates market. Just leave a like, leave a comment, and boom, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to use a random comment picker, and then we'll announce the winner this upcoming Sunday, and then who knows, maybe we'll start another contest after this one is finished. We'll see. As we grow, as we continue to grow, we give more and more away as much as we possibly can, and that's kind of the goal for 2022, right? Just give as much back as we possibly can. So with that being said, we're going to jump into things. I'm going to flip you around in just a second here, but I kind of wanted to preface why my interest in talking about Charizard kind of sparked. And I don't usually go over a single card and kind of analyze that data. Usually I go over set data, but the reason I wanted to choose Charizard is because we do have Brilliant Stars coming out, which has Charizard in it. And secondly, because I just started kind of Googling, started looking on YouTube, and just looking at different investing type videos or different investing mindsets when it comes to Pokemon cards. And it seems like left and right over the past year and a half, there has been boom, invest in Charizard, or boom, $10,000 Charizard card could be found in this box, or, you know, boom, Charizard's going to go to the moon. I remember watching videos of, you know, this person buying this first edition Charizard, oh, it's going to be $1 million card within a year, or whatever the case may be. And I just started thinking, like, was that really the mindset? Did we really think that Charizard was just going to explode? Pokemon was in a place where it's never been in before. Even really when Pokemon released in the US, we're talking late 1999 and early 2000, the demand was crazy back then, but I don't even know if it really hit what it was like over the past year and a half, where we started really focusing and honing in on prices from an investment opportunity. And with that came the idea and the mentality of throwing money at basically any Charizard that was out there, and then eventually over time it would increase in value. So I was like, well, let's kind of look and see over the past 6 months to a year, how has Charizard fared? How has it done? So I've got a bunch of different Charizards. Not every Charizard is going to be pictured here, but I've got about 20. I think 21 of them are up here. So I started out with the base set Charizard right away just to kind of get a feel for where it was. And this is over the past 7-ish months of data as soon as TCG players started using these graphs. And if we look back all the way right around July, it kind of hit its peak at $416.79. If you look right now, it's all the way down to $348. So if you started buying Charizards, I guarantee you, even before June, even before, it was probably higher than this, but if you started buying Charizards at some point over the past year or so, you probably are at a low point, unless you bought it within the last couple weeks when it hit its low, which is right on January 3rd of $333.74. Now these are market prices, these are raw prices, so obviously graded cards are going to adapt differently, right? They're going to go up and down differently than what a raw card might do. Also, another thing is this is market pricing, so this is kind of taking an average, an aggregate, or an average of what has sold on TCG Player. Obviously, you can find these for cheaper on eBay or different auction websites, or maybe you can find one cheaper at an LGS, whatever the case may be. This is taking near mint copies and kind of doing an average and kind of getting to that market point, that market price point. But $333.74, you can tell that's a huge drop over the span of 6 months. Then I've got the Dark Charizard holographic card. For this, I actually focused only on the first edition number, so these numbers here that you see are first edition. I didn't focus on the regular because it's really flat, relatively flat the entire time. I think it went down to about $182, and now the market price is still at about $185. So very flat when it came to the normal Dark Charizard Holo. But the first edition one was all the way up to $687.27, kind of at the beginning or end of August, and then it kind of dipped down all the way down to $491.24. Now it's kind of leveled out at about $500, but obviously $500 much lower than that $687.27 if that's when we invested in Charizard. When we look at the base 2 Charizard, its high point was $287.18. That kind of happened right at the end of June, and now it's all the way down to $231.72. Its low point was a couple weeks ago, just like many other things in the Pokemon game. It's down to $228.07, so much lower, but starting to peak back up, and it really makes you start trying to figure out, okay, is this market correction? Was a market correction kind of in place when we went all the way down to $228.07? Maybe that $287.18 was an oversight of what the market really is willing to spend, and this $228.07 is kind of correcting that price, and now maybe investing in it wouldn't be as bad of an idea. That's completely up to you. I'm never going to tell you what to do with your money, but that's kind of the mindset that you need to start thinking of when you're kind of approaching these decisions. If we're looking at the Blaine's Charizard, this number right here, we're only focusing on the holo foil card. We're not focusing on the first edition. The swings here are actually a little bit bigger than what you see, and it's a little bit false because the first edition is so much more expensive, but it was at $349.13 at its high point, and now it's all the way down to $162.66. So a little bit of a dive there. If we move on to the Evolutions Charizard, and this one is very interesting to me because Evolutions got so much hype. I remember buying near mint copies of holo and the reverse holo of this card for $8-10 2 years ago, bulk copies of them because nobody wanted them. The high point is still relatively high. I mean, 72.55 is where we were all the way back in June. I remember over a year ago it was going for much higher than that even. Low point, again, this is focusing on the holo foil, but you can see the reverse holo is really starting to close the gap as far as pricing goes. Went all the way down to $51. Now started going up a little bit and then took a little dip recently. We're at around $54 right now and 35 cents. If we look at the Charizard V-Max from Darkness Ablaze, when this card first came out, it was selling for just over $100. It stayed pretty strong for a while and then kind of dive-bombed. It was at $85 back at the beginning of August, and now you can tell it's almost at its low point, $48.57. If we look at the Charizard V-Max, it was at $185.16, and its low point was $119.35. If you remember how expensive some of these cards were selling for when they first kind of came out, graded 10, everybody wanted to get that graded 10 copy of it right away. As you can tell, it just continued to go down and down and down. But if we look at the Rainbow Rare variant of it, it was at $228.03 as its high point, went all the way down to $158.24 in November, and now it's started to climb back up a little bit. And part of that is really because Champion's Path has done such a good job of rebounding now that it's been a year and a half since it really came out. Now it's all the way back up to $209.66, so it's really gained back a lot of what it's lost. If we look at the Charizard V Shiny, $211.26, kind of the same story. Kind of makes you wonder if it's at its low point already or if it'll dip down a little bit lower. Right now it's at $158.08. It did hit $157.83 a week ago, so it's really closing in on that low point right there. This is actually the Legendary Collection Charizard. I don't know why my picture isn't showing right. It's a high point of $581.43 and then a low point of $469.50, so a decent swing there. Again, we're only focusing on the holo foil price. The reverse holo Charizard, much more expensive, but if you look here, it doesn't look like it's that severe of drops, but when you compare it to the numbers that this graph needs to have, it makes more sense why there might be such a big difference here, because there's over $100 gap. If you would have kind of spent money on the holo foil version of the Legendary Collection Charizard back in August, we're talking 4 months ago is when it was at its high, 5 months ago, and now it's all the way down to that 447 marker, much lower. If we look at the Charizard Radiant Collection version from Generations, it was at $30.82 as its high price, $14.87 as its low price, which is quite the difference there. So it's at its high point back in June, hit that $30.82, and then it went all the way back down to $14.87 before starting to rebound a little bit here, and now you can see it's up to $19.67. If we look at the Reshiram and Charizard, this is a fun one to look at. It was all the way up to $209.37 and then down to $163, so about a $40 difference there. It hit its peak on August 23rd about, and then kind of now it's continuing to fall. So you can see there hasn't been really a complete correction yet where it starts to rebound. Makes you wonder if it might go down a few more dollars yet. We got quite a few more yet, so we're going to go through these relatively fast. This is the Mega Charizard from Evolutions. I remember when this card was selling for super cheap. It was down to $16 $28.21 in the middle of September. At its height, which is where it is right now, $28.42. So this Evolutions Charizard in specific is continuing to climb. It's really on an upswing. If we look at the Rainbow Rare from Burning Shadows, going way, way down. If we look at the high point of it, and I'm sure the reprint had a huge, huge impact on this a year ago, and now more singles have been opened, more copies have hit. 475.26 back in June. It was much higher than that. At one point, it was over $500. Now it went down to 367.75, kind of at the end of December. Now it's rebounded a little bit to that 380.34 mark. If we look at the Mega Charizard EX Full Art from Evolutions, really starting to go on the upswing as well. Its high point is at 47.66, which it hit back in August. Now it went down to 33.45 in November, and now it's starting to climb back up a little bit. So it's right back up to 40.51. It made back almost what it's lost already. If we look at the Charizard Level X, it was at 157.22 for the past couple weeks. It's really kind of hit its bottom point right now. It looks like 293.27 is the potential. That's where we saw it at. Now again, really makes you determine whether these are market corrections, these are price corrections, or if this is just a down market. 293.37 is where it was back in August. If we look at the holographic from Expedition, we're just, again, focusing on the holographic, not on the reverse holo. Its high point was 597 about. Its low point was 226.25. If we look at the full art promo card, because it wasn't a full art in Burning Shadows, this is just a promo card. It came up to 45.67, kind of in August, September area, and now it's falling, right? It's falling way down. So it's down to 35.13 right now. Its low point was 34.75, so just higher than that, but relatively flat right now over the past couple weeks. If we look at the Mega Charizard from Evolutions, we're on the last three right now. 66.53 was its high point back in July. It went all the way down to 55.47 in December, just like a lot of other cards kind of fell to that bottom point. Now it's starting to gradually rise a little bit. So this is really showing you kind of a correlation of those medium range, how long ago those cards came out. So we have the vintage cards, right, which are really kind of going down in price. Then we have those medium range cards, like what we saw with the Charizard from Evolutions, the Mega Charizard, starting to climb back up a little bit. Really gives you kind of some insight on what's going on in the market. If we look at the Vivid Voltage Charizard, and this is what I was talking about when I was saying people were kind of predicting Charizard to go way up in value. This was a pre-release promo. This has just continued to bottom and fall down, even though you can't get this in Vivid Voltage booster boxes. So the reprints of Vivid Voltage doesn't really matter on this. The build and battle boxes are still super expensive, but this promo card continues to drop. We're at its low point right now over the past 6 months. It was up to 118.80 back in June. If you bought one copy of it then, your investment of that 118.80 is now worth 71.76. Not a great investment right there. Unfortunately, it just keeps going down. Finally, the Charizard and Breaksin was at 151.49. I really wanted to stick to some of the more modern cards so that way you can kind of see where these dips are coming from. A lot of people kind of throwing money at Charizards thinking, hey, I'm going to spend a lot of money on Charizard, maybe get it graded. It's going to be worth thousands of dollars. If I don't get it graded, I can just sell it for what I paid for it. 151.49 back in June. Now it's all the way down to 113.24. It's at its 6-month low. So very, very interested. Kind of take a look at this information and just see, okay, well, where is Charizard headed? What would be a good idea to do with some of, with the money that I want to devote to my collection, if you're missing any of these pieces, if you have any of these pieces. So I want to throw that information out there so you can better understand the market specifically with this one card, and that way you can approach the upcoming release of Charizard in Brilliant Stars with the best mindset. If you don't pull that alternate art right away, we do have some comps that you can kind of look at and be like, okay, well, I'm not going to pay $1,000 for that card right when it comes out, but if I kind of sit and wait a year, maybe it'll come down to $300, somewhere like that. Obviously, that information is kind of your own to make. Use the data. That's what it's there for. I'm trying to help as much as I possibly can. With that being said, guys, make sure to hit that like button down below. Leave a comment because it goes a long way for the algorithm. And recommend the video. Share it to your friends. Let people know about it. We are marching to 100,000 subscribers this year. And like I said, the more we can, the bigger we grow, the more that we can give back. So ultimately, just hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Thank you. I hope to see you guys all tomorrow on my live stream. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but I hope to be back to 100% tomorrow, and that way I'll have more energy than what I was able to give you in this video. But thank you guys so much for everything, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Peace!